Hi everyone, and welcome to the Wednesday class. Well, it would be great to see you say hi in the chat, and I'm a little bit excited today because, believe it or not, this is the end of our first 10-week cycle. We've made it all the way through the water element, all the way with all the points and everything. So yeah, next week we're going to be starting a whole new 10-week series. So isn't that great? And I've got a fantastic point of the week for you. Really excited about that too. So let's get straight onto it with tuning in. I'm just going to show you the slides just in case you're new to the class. So to give you an idea of how it works. So yep, it's transform your health the Shiatsu way. What we do is we kind of find out how you are to start with. And then we do some tuning in exercises. We do some polls to find out how you are so we can tweak the class for you each week. Then we do some exercises. Again, we tweak those exercises every week depending on how the group's feeling. And it's been fascinating to see how the group's energy has changed right the way through the pandemic. And then we're going to feature point of the week where we look at one particular acupoint and we look at the name of it and stuff like that. And I found out some interesting stuff about the point of the week this week. And then at the end, we check in to just see how we've done in the hour, to see how you're feeling, whether anyone's had a reaction, whether you feel pretty much the same or whether you feel more balanced. Okay, excellent. So let's get straight on with it. And let's find out how you are. And I thought we'd just ask a slightly different question this week. I just would like to find out just generally how stressed you are. We've found out the last few weeks that around 20% of you are feeling okay. And most of you are feeling some kind of obstruction, maybe a bit of weakness and things like that. So let's just find out the general stress level that you're feeling at the moment. Okay. So here it is. I'll read it out to you. Basically, I'd just like to find out whether you're feeling like you're coping well at the moment, whether you're okay, kind of neutral, or feeling stressed or very stressed. And if I remember rightly, back in the day at the beginning of the first lockdown, most people were coping pretty well. But of course, the stress level has gone up as the pandemic's gone on. So it'll be very interesting to see how we're doing now. And it looks like around about a third of you are feeling stressed or very stressed. And that's something we want to really help you with these exercises. And if we include the people who are feeling neutral, we're about over half of you are feeling either neutral, stressed or very stressed. And we want to really help you with these exercises. And we've got a lot of resources that we can use as we go on. So let's see let's just check in and see what zone you're in, because this will also help us tweak the exercises. Here's a look at the program. Look, here we are right down the bottom, 27th of January, bladder 60 is the point of the week. And we've gone right the way through the whole 10-week water cycle, which is really exciting. Next week, we're going to start the next element. So we find out how we are. We find out we've quite a lot of stress in the group, which we'd love to help you with. We've done that poll. Now let's just have a look at these zones. These are the nervous system zones. We want to try and keep you at least most of the time in the green zone. That's when we can operate really well as human beings. We have joy, we're in the present, grounded, curiosity and compassion. What happens, and there's no shame in this is just your nervous system doing its job. When the stress rises, we tend to have emotional states, we tend to get overactive, and that can turn into worry and frustration. And what you really don't want to happen is to go into that more primitive freeze state, which is the last defense of the nervous system. And one of the reasons we do these exercises is to try and keep the whole group towards the bottom end of the red zone and into the green zone. So do you feel that you're mainly in the green zone, mainly in the red zone, or mainly in the blue zone? Let's just find out from where you are, which zone are you in? And you might find you're in a mixture of the green and red or a mixture of the red and blue. And I'd really like to know that. You can just take a moment just to fill that in, and we'll just see how we're doing. So are you in the green, red, blue zone, or a mixture of green and red, a mixture of red and blue? And look, we've got a significant increase in the number of people who are tending to dip into the red zone there. And particularly we're concerned with those of you who are feeling a little bit in the blue zone. So you're feeling this feeling of of shutting down. There's nothing to be ashamed of, by the way, if you just feel you can't do anything, that you're kind of inactive. It's just your nervous system. All it is your nervous system is going into the final defense, and it's a natural thing that we have built into us from our ancestors and from when we were animals, we were being hunted. It's a freeze response, and it actually defends us from extreme threat. So what we need to do now is just generally get out of that freeze state and try and deactivate down through the red and green zones. And hopefully these exercises will help us do that. Okay. Okay, so the next thing we're going to do is we're going to tune into the 3 burners. So you just need a piece of paper. I'll just show you, I've got these slides here. We've done that, which is only you in. Just need a piece of paper like this. What I do is I just take a piece of A4 like this on my clipboard, and I do this. Okay, because this is going to find out where that stress is mainly affecting us. And then you can pick out the exercises for that particular zone and hopefully focus in during the week on the specific things that you need yourself. Okay, so what we do is we focus internally, and we can get in touch with what it's like in different areas of the body. And in Chinese medicine, they divide the internal part of the body into 3 areas, which they call burners, the 3 burners, or the 3 burning spaces, because that's where activity happens. Okay, and we're going to kind of scan in to those areas and find out what's happening and do some exercises to balance ourselves out. So let's go. It's time for the lower burning space to start with. And just to remind you where it is, it's actually from your navel down to the pelvic floor, all the way round into the sacrum. And it's this kind of whole space here. Okay, and what we do is we just take a moment to just close our eyes, okay, and bring our mind or our attention down into that area and just experience what it's like. Okay, have you got it? So if you had to turn that sensation or that experience of what this lower area is like, what would it look like? And then what we can do is just do a quick sketch. And that reminds us, and if you come every week, it's really interesting to think back and think how you've maybe changed from last week or a month ago or even a year ago. It'll be soon, won't it? I know I find it very interesting myself to check in with the burners once a week with you. Okay, very good. So now we're going to go up to the middle burner, which is mainly the digestive organs of the liver and the stomach, and it's below the diaphragm, and it's round here into the thoracic spine. So it's this whole area here. I'm just going to spend a moment just tuning into that area. Very important area to relax, really, because it's a place that often gets kind of tight and holds a lot of tension. Okay, so let's just close our eyes and bring our attention down into the middle burner. Okay, now does it feel the same as the lower burner to you, or is there any differences? And what are those differences? What is it like? Okay, now if you had to turn it into a picture, what would it look like? And then we're going to draw it into the middle burner here. Okay, there we go. All right, so now we've just got the upper burner, and that's probably, you can guess where that is. That's all the lungs, it includes the heart, both the lungs right through into the back. So it's all this upper part here, okay? So let's do the same thing. Let's close our eyes and bring our attention into that upper area here and see what is it like. Okay, if you had to turn it into a drawing, what would it be like? Let's see. I'm going to draw that. Okay, now while we're doing that, I'm just going to quickly put the slides up and yep. This is the ideal, according to Chinese medicine, this is the ideal picture that you should have. A nice relaxed and strong lower burner. Oh dear, I need to do some work on that myself. Flexible and flowing. I'm not doing too well this week with that either, actually, for the middle burner. And open and relaxed for the upper burner. And one of the things you don't want is too much heat anywhere. You don't really want it to be hot. The upper burner should feel kind of moist and cool, and the same in the middle, kind of flexible and cool. So if you've got heat in one of those burners, it's generally not a good thing. You want to kind of move that and calm it down. So we've found out where you are in terms of stress, and we definitely need to do some work as a group this week for that. We've got more of you moving into the red and the blue zone, and we really want to look after you with that, because that's not a very nice place to be, especially towards the end of the red zone into the blue zone. It's kind of a very irritated area, and then a kind of frustrated, kind of depressed area where you feel you can't do anything. So we want to move our energy and get things moving as much as we can. So the only thing we need to know now, before we can launch ourselves into today's exercises, is which of the burners do you want to work on most? You can just choose one burner out of the three. Which one do you think needs the most attention for you? Let's have a look. This has been fascinating because this has switched around really dramatically as the pandemic has developed and as different lockdowns have come and gone at different stages of the pandemic. And look at this. It's the return of the upper burner by a significant margin. That's very interesting because that was happening a few months ago and it was overtaken big time by the middle burner. But even more significantly, the lower burner now is starting to creep up. And that is because long-term stress tends to affect the adrenal system. It affects the red zone. If you're in the red zone a lot, it tends to tire the adrenal system out. And what that can happen is that can affect the lower burner because of embryological connections between the lower burner and the adrenal glands, okay? And that kind of fatigue that you get is often related to the lower burner. So this is really significant now, something we can work on in the next cycle of 10 weeks. We want to strengthen up that lower burner, free up the middle burner, but particularly we want to calm down the upper burner so that we can basically just feel a lot more comfortable in ourselves. And as we go through, what I'll do is I'll try and give you a few tips to help you out depending on which burner you're working in. Okay, and I can't wait for point of the week as well, which is going to come a little bit towards the end of the session this time, as you'll find out why later on. So shall we start? Okay, so here we are, back on the Wednesday class. And the first thing we want to do really is just stand and check out whether our energy or our awareness is kind of going up like this, or is it going down like this? Now, the good chance is if you're in the red zone, you're probably going to feel a little like this. And if you're in the blue zone, you start to move into the blue zone, you're going to feel a bit like this, like you can't move, everything is kind of freezing up and you're feeling a little bit heavy. So we want to balance that out. First thing to do is to bring this into our attention. So we're going to scan through our whole body, just working through our body from the top all the way down. And just notice whether you're feeling like you're floating up or whether you're sinking down. Okay, now whatever happens, one of the most important things that we need to do is to get that lower burner activated so we can build on that, and also so that we can connect down into the ground and above. Before we do that though, it's a good idea to loosen everything up so that things can flow from one part of the body to another. So let's do some shaking to start with before we go into the breathing exercises. Very, very good for when you go into the blue zone. Shaking is really good. It's a natural way of getting out of the blue zone. And also if you're agitated in the red zone, it's a good way of calming down because it releases any tension in the muscles. So it's a really good idea. So let's do a really thorough job of shaking out this morning. We're going to work down from the top of the head down. The first big joint is the jaw. We're going to shake the chin. We're going to let the chin drop down. You probably don't want a close up of me doing this, but I'm going to give it to you anyway. We're going to drop this down and go. Okay, and shake the head up and down a little bit. Sit, shake the head, open the jaw. Got it? And just let it go. Relax down the neck. We're just going to get all those vertebrae in the neck just loosened up by a little bit of shaking here. Okay, and now we're going to relax the shoulders. And we're going down, we're going to open up the shoulders, keep that jaw nice and loose, and open up the shoulders. And we're going to go down to the elbows. And we're going to go down into the hands and wrists and fingers. So shaking out all the way from the jaw, nice and gently, all the way down through the shoulders, down through the elbows, down into the fingertips. Okay, got it? Right, so now we're going to go for the rib cage. Keep those arms nice and loose. We're going to go for the rib cage. We're going to just let the whole rib cage loosen up. You can become aware of your sternum, and all the ribs go into the thoracic spine here. So it's a good idea to get that thoracic spine. What I like to do sometimes is kind of shake this way, just to get the sternum and the ribs loose. Very good if you start dipping into that blue zone where everything starts freezing up. You want to get the body moving to start with. And if you're in the red zone and you kind of get tense, everything gets tight like that, which it often does when you're in fight or flight, then this will do another job, which is just keeping everything as loose as possible. So it's a really good exercise. Okay, here we go. I'm just going to open up my sternum a little bit more. Shake that. Keeping my jaw relaxed. Keeping my arms relaxed. Okay, good. We got down. Now we're going to the diaphragm. Kind of a difficult one to loosen up, really, because it's really interior. But let's just focus a little bit on the diaphragm, jiggle it about a bit, and then start shaking, gently shaking the whole of the abdominal area, and just relaxing and shaking those internal organs. They all kind of float around next to each other, and it's really nice to have them all a little bit loose, moving about. So you can do a little bit of twisting, maybe focusing on this area here. Very good. Okay, very good. Excellent. Right, so now we're going to go down into the hips. Very important, massive, really big joint in the body, isn't it? And we're going to try and just get that a little bit looser. I'm going to, again, go forwards and backwards. My focus is really deep in the hip. I'm just letting go. I'm going to go on one leg and just shake out that hip. Go on the other leg and just shake out this hip. Really good, shaking that jaw relaxed. Keep the arms relaxed. And then down through the knees into the feet. Okay, and then we get the whole body shaking. Make some sounds if no one can hear you. If you've got no neighbours that can hear you, can make some sounds. Okay, excellent, good. Feel better already? I think so. If you just scan through. Already starting to feel things are moving a little bit more fluidly. So now we can focus down onto that lower burner. Let's really energize that. And one of the big secrets to keeping cool and keeping in that green zone is the breathing, okay? Because what can happen is this. As soon as we start doing that, we start going into a spiral of the nervous system going out of control. So one of the best ways we can do that is to get the breathing down here, okay? we'll rub our hands together. Because what happens if we focus our breathing in the lower burner is it relaxes the diaphragm, it slows the breathing down a little bit, and it basically emphasizes the parasympathetic system. It basically calms us down. Okay, now here we go, bringing the hands down here onto the dantian, just below the navel, this mystical center of the energy of the body. And we're going to relax our shoulders, relax our jaw, relax our upper body. See if you can do this. Breathe in. See if you can feel the breath coming to here. And then hold it and breathe out slowly. As we breathe out, we just relax our body. Okay, so let's try it again. You breathe in. A visualization, a good visualization is to imagine light coming in with the breath. Imagine it's going right down to here where your hands are. Okay, and you're breathing out. Relaxing the shoulders, centering the awareness here in the dantian. Okay, let's try a few more, breathing in. Okay, this time I'd like you to just relax your mind. So as you breathe out, relax your mind. Just imagine all these thoughts and worries just relaxing away. Let's do it one more time. Just relaxing our body and our mind as we breathe out. Okay, very powerful exercise because there's a direct link between the breathing and the nervous system, parasympathetic nervous system. Let's do one more for luck. Breathing in. And breathing out. Relaxing the mind. Okay, so here's a hint during the week. If you start to get really worried about stuff and things are starting to get out of control, just spend 5 minutes, rub your hands together, get your breathing down here, relax the mind and the body as you breathe out. Okay, now it's time to get some energy in here. And the other day we did bladder 23, the U point of the kidneys. Remember that on the back? I'm going to use that in a minute. And these points here, the gates of life points, are really important to energize. We're going to do something special with these. We're going to extend the breathing down the legs as well as into the hara, okay, onto the abdomen. This is the whole hara here, okay, and this is the dantian, the special place on the hara. Okay, this is how we do it, okay, so let's first of all start activating that point. Got it? So just feeling it slightly stimulated. You don't have to press hard, just lightly pressing. Keeping the shoulders relaxed. And now we're going to go internally. We're going to bring the breath in like we did before. Bring that light in. Okay. And now we're going to go one stage further, which is as we breathe out, we imagine the light from the breath going down through the hips, down through the knees and into the feet. Do you want to try it? Okay. So it's breathing in. Imagine this energy here. And then breathing out slowly, relax your hips, relax your knees, relax your ankles, and send that imagination down through our legs into the famous kidney 1 point. Okay, feels pretty good, doesn't it? Okay, let's do that a few more times, breathing in. Bring that breath into the dantian, really relax, and send the breath, imagine the breath, or the light from the breath is going down through the hips, through the knees, through the feet, into the earth, through the sole of the feet. Very good. One more, breathing in. Okay, breathing out. Okay, now I'd like you to just check in, and I'm doing the same, checking in to see how easy is it to get that energy down through your legs and into the floor, okay? For me, it's a little bit difficult today, partly because my feet are freezing cold, so I think it's time we gave kidney 1 a bit of attention. And you remember kidney 1, we started off with this as point of the week way back 10 weeks ago. It's one of the most important points in the whole of the body. It's one of the most powerful acupuncture points, and it's used in Qigong and everything. And it's right in the center of the foot. So if you can sit on a chair and reach your feet, or you can sit down on a mat or whatever you're doing. And we're just going to give kidney 1 a really good workout and extend it up into kidney 3, which is this supreme stream point. And the idea is to kind of encourage this kind of river of yin from the earth to go up through the feet. And we'll find out in a few minutes time, we'll find out whether it works or not, because what should happen is if we activate this point, it's going to be super easy to connect with the earth. And that's really important if we want to stay calm in the current circumstances, because this point, kidney 1, 1/3 of the distance down this midline of the foot, is the main point of the body to calm the mind. It takes your attention down to your feet and it calms the mind. So if any kind of agitation or worry or anxiety, kidney 1 is the point for you. Okay. Also, I'm getting my feet a bit warmer. I don't know about you. So I'm tapping along here, along the kidney channel and up towards kidney 3. Remember that point just behind the ankle. And that point there, supreme stream it's called, because it's like a river that goes up here. The channel is like a river. This is the spring, and this is like where it starts to become a river. This is the imagery we have from the points. This point here is the kind of pair of our point of the week later on. So just remember that. We'll be getting our feet activated even more towards the end of today's session. Okay, let's just, I'm going to give my feet a bit of a rub here, just a bit more of a pummeling, opening up. Very good. Okay, I'm going to put that sock straight back on again, keep my feet warm. Okay, let's do the other foot, and then we'll check out again and see whether it's had the desired effect, which is to basically help us root down into the ground. Now you notice that we've actually got a preponderance of upper burners. Upper burner is the favorite burner. So you might think, well, why is he doing that? Why is he doing the feet when everyone, what's this doing? Oh, what's he doing? And the reason is there's a principle in Chinese medicine, which is for problems in the above, treat below. Okay, so if there's stuff in the head, too much energy in the head or headaches and things like that, then we often treat it by treating points at the other end of the body. And so if we've got upper burner issues, the first thing you want to do is make sure your feet are planted firmly on the ground. And the best way to do that is with kidney 1. Okay. Okay, so what I'm doing is I'm pressing my fingers right into that whole kidney 1 area there, stretching out. Giving kidney 1 a really good pummeling. And that goes up through into here, into the supreme stream point, which is where it just starts becoming a bit of a stream. So I'm tapping along here and up round behind the ankle. Okay. Right, good. Excellent. Let's see what's happened. Okay. Let's see if it's any easier to connect down and feel kind of a lot calmer and more connected to the earth. Let's just try and check that out. Okay, so let's stand. How about that? Very different. Doesn't it feel different? Okay, and that's a really important connection there. Now we can get an even stronger feeling of feeling nice and solid on the ground by activating the channels, and we can do that by working the kidney and the bladder channel. So let's try that. So what we're going to do is we're going to go up the kidney channel right from where we left off here, and we're going to tap up the inside of the legs. And this is revision really of the whole water element. Remember we had kidney 10 here behind the knee, and that's used for all kinds of problems in the lower burner. And go up. Okay, and then we're going to go round down the back of the bladder channel. That's right down the back of the legs. And if you remember, the kidney channel runs all the way up here into the chest, and the bladder channel runs all the way down the back of the, all the way down the back of the back, down the backs of the legs, down into the feet. Okay, so we're just doing the legs for a moment, just going kidney, bladder. Remember we had bladder 36, that point for the lower back, hold and support, I think it was called. It's just we've got one more point, haven't we? Somewhere down on the lower leg. I wonder what it's going to be. Okay, so here we go, up, and then down the legs. Just to emphasize the water element meridians in the legs, again, all connected to the lower burner and the lower back, okay? So it's probably a good time now just to get right in here and activate bladder 23, the U point, or the associated effect point for the kidneys. If you've got tension in your shoulders or you've got painful shoulders, you can't do this, don't worry, just keep doing this. But if you can reach your back, loose fists, standing and connecting. Keeping that kidney 1 open, feeling connected with the earth, relaxing our breathing down into the lower dantian. Very good. Okay, excellent. Okay, so that is the lower burner sorted out as much as we can do, and it's time to work up now into the middle burner. Let's just check in with we had 34% middle burner, so it's a close second to the lower burner. Now let's do some Anpuku therapy this week and do some channel work. So what we should do first of all is just feel around the middle burner area. And if you just gently bring your fingertips here and just check out what it feels like. Okay, now anatomically we've got the stomach right here. This is the stomach area on the left. And then we have the liver on this side. And so we can just feel around to see if we've got any areas of tension. Really, all this area should feel completely pain-free and not feel stiff at all. If it feels kind of stiff and hard or painful and uncomfortable, then it shows that we really need to do some work on that middle burner. Okay, now here's some general Qigong exercises that we can do just to start off with. Remember, we had this one around the dantian. We can extend that into the middle of the abdomen and then make it bigger all around the whole intestines. And as we get to the upper burner here, we're kind of massaging the liver and the stomach, using a little bit more pressure here, keeping the arms really relaxed. Okay, now this is a favorite zone for the red zone, if you're going into the red zone. And the reason for that is because the nervous system is very much connected to the stomach. And the digestive system. That's why when you're under stress, you lose your appetite. The body's basically conserving its energy for fight and flight. It doesn't really want you to be sitting around eating. It wants you to be running. So the adrenal system becomes active. We kind of go off our food, things like that. We might get, and that can lead to things like diarrhea and feelings of discomfort in the digestive system. So what we're doing here is we're basically telling our brain it's safe. It's safe to eat. It's safe to relax and have something to eat. We don't need to worry. And that message will go up through into our nervous system, and it will just make us feel kind of a lot calmer and a lot more satisfied with things as they are, rather than worrying about what might happen. Okay, so we're just going to do that for a little bit more, and then we're going to use the channels to help us out. So we've got the stomach and spleen channels on the front of the legs, and the liver and gallbladder on the inside and outside. Now, if you're more of a worrier and you feel kind of more worried and anxious, you're probably going to find it goes into your stomach. So let's do that first. What we're going to do is we're going to bring our attention into this area here, particularly around the stomach area, and we're going to tap lightly down the stomach channel. as we do that, if you find any areas that make this area feel nice and comfortable and relaxed, we're going to do a little bit more there. I've got one around here. In other areas, not much happens, and you find another area a little bit further along, and it feels like I've had something nice to eat. It feels kind of like comforting here. And then we're going to keep going with that area there. And what that is basically that not all parts of the channels are the same. There are subos or points on the channel that have effects that you can feel in the corresponding area. So we want to make the most of that. We go down. Some of them are really famous, like this one just below the knee. The 3-mile point, really good for digestion and energy generally. And then we go down to the ankles, and then up the inside front of the legs. Yeah, and then we come back up onto the abdomen again, and then we go down again, round, down. Again, just being sensitive and tuning in to anything that feels really good in terms of relaxing this middle burner here. Okay, excellent. Very good. One more time. Finding any good points? Try this one just under the knee here on the outside. Okay. Very good. Excellent. So we're going to just brush off down here. Okay, and the next thing is if you're more of like a frustrated and a little bit irritated and you get a bit more angry type of person rather than the worrier, that probably means it's going to be more like the liver and gallbladder channels. And these run on the inside and outside of the legs. So let's get rid of a little bit of frustration that we might have. Let's get rid of that. We're going to squeeze it out down the channels and make sure we can kind of let go of it. So this is more the sides of the body. We're just going to tap around the sides. We're going to go into the hips. And this point here, we'll no doubt be looking at that pretty soon. That's a really important point, the hip, right in here, right into the center of the buttocks there. And then it goes down, we go down the outside of the legs. This is the gallbladder channel. It's related to decision making. And if you can't make decisions or if you're getting a bit irritated about things, this is the channel you need to address. We go down, 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 down to the ankles again. And then we go up the inside of the legs. This is the liver channel. This is more to do with anger. Anger and frustration affect the liver. So if you feel a tightness around these big muscles here on the inside of your legs, that's probably the liver channel that needs some work. So let's do it again on the sides. Up the inside. Okay, very good. Just one more time. And we would have done the middle burner. We're just going to do some little bit of swinging there just to finish off with that. Okay, here we go. Okay, so now what should happen is if we just palpate around here, that means pressing. That's a fancy name for pressing, palpating or feeling. We're just going to feel around here. Just notice if you did have any stiffness there or any obstruction, you feel a little bit easier, a little bit less sensitive. And that means that the channel work has been effective. If you need a bit more help, I think we all need a bit more help on the middle burner. I know I do, looking at my picture. Let's do some turning exercise, this turning exercise. So, relaxing the jaw, shaking out a little bit more, getting our breath down into here and focusing down into the earth so we feel connected to the earth. Very good. And now it's time to connect that thread, imaginary thread, with the heavens. We've established the lower burner, relaxing the middle burner. So now let's try and get that upper burner opened. We're moving towards it by getting that head floating up. Once we've got the head floating up, we can just kind of like hang on that string in a really relaxed way. The sacrum is weighting down. And then we can just turn that string Imagining our spine is like a thread of pearls, just nice and easy. Once we get the swinging motion in action, then we bring the attention down into the middle burner and we just relax it as we twist. As we twist, we just allow that middle burner to just open up a little bit more and release. Just letting go of any anxiety or frustration you might be holding there in those digestive organs. Really nice and easy, keeping it all nice and relaxed. Keep the breathing nice and low, keeping the breathing nice and low into the hara and keeping that connection with the earth. Excellent. Okay, middle burner. Very good. Okay, so now we come to the favorite burner of the week, which is the upper burner. And we've got two things we need to work on there. We've got the lungs and the heart, okay? And basically, sadness and grief is related to the lungs. And this is a really good medical Qigong exercise for the lungs. We're going to lift up our arms like this, and we're going to literally just drop them back down. Okay, it looks like nothing, right? Okay, but it's how you do it. You keep those thumbs out, and you focus your attention on this line that goes from the thumb into the shoulder and up into the throat. And what that does is it opens up the lung channel. And this time we're going to actually breathe into the lungs now. Okay, we're going to try and fill up the lungs all the way down to the diaphragm. Okay, and then breathing out. Okay, we should have our feet still rooted firmly on the floor. Okay, but what we're doing is we're drawing the air in, and we're aware of this upper respiratory tract opening up. Okay, now you may be able to feel a very subtle connection between this point of the stretch all the way up into the throat, and what you're feeling there is facial connections that are laid down embryologically between the lung channel down into the thumb and the whole upper respiratory tract. And that's why this exercise opens up the lungs and encourages the breathing to sink downwards. Okay, so let's just experience that. Keep those thumbs out. Keep the shoulders open here. That's it. And just really enjoy that feeling of the air going deep down into the lungs, down into the diaphragm, all the way down. Okay, not like this. It's like, whoa, that's such a good feeling. And again, just like slightly slower exhalation. Okay, now if you do get seriously into the blue zone, I know some of you are experiencing that, that's not a good place to be. Now, if you're in the blue zone and you want to activate it, you want to emphasize a little bit more the inhalation, okay? And because of the way the nervous system works, what will happen with that is as you emphasize the inhalation, it will tend to bring you out of the freeze state. So just bear that in mind. If you find yourself slipping into that blue zone, try not to elongate the exhalation too much, emphasize more the inhalation and get that air moving into your body along with the shaking and the tapping. They're the best strategies you have for just easing yourself out of the blue zone. Okay, so we're going to just finish up with that. Okay, so that's our lung exercise for the day. Let's just do a nice lung stretch. We're going to breathe in. We're going to bring those thumbs up here like this, and we're going to breathe out and bring them backwards. Okay, now can you feel that stretch from the thumb all the way into the chest, front of the chest, and into the lungs? That's the facial connection between the channel and the lung tissues. Okay, and that's why this stretch is good for the lungs. One more time, two more times. Okay, excellent. Now we have to address the heart. Now we've got two whole channels in the arm that are related to the heart. We have got the Pericardium Channel that runs down the middle of the arm and goes to this middle finger here. And this is really good for if you get any tightness in the chest with anxiety, things like that, if you get any feeling of weakness or especially tightness along here. I'll show you how effective it is. For those of you who've got upper burner, it's your choice, okay? First of all, do this stretch. Open your arms up like this. Focus on the middle finger. Breathe in, breathe out, and just bring your arms backwards. So I'm just basically doing this, bringing my arms back like that, you see? Okay, now get them as far as you can back and just stretch them a little bit more and you'll feel a connection right the way through here. That's the pericardium channel and it links with the heart organ. Okay, now if you're anxious and you've got tight, you'll probably find that's quite tight and quite kind of uncomfortable. And this is what we need to do for that. We need to work with some doing on the pericardium channel. I'll show you where it goes. We start off here. We're going to use just some nice light tapping here. And we're going to go down the middle of the inside of the arm. I'm going to do the same thing that we did with the middle burner. What I'd like us to do is I'm going to do the same. I'm going to tune into this area here, any tightness here. And if you find anywhere down here that feels particularly good, and quite often it'll be around the joints, the elbows, that feels like it's releasing here, then we're going to just concentrate a little bit on those areas. Okay, down into the palm of the hand. Okay, and then we're going to go down to the middle finger. We're just going to pull that middle finger and just squeeze it and do this. And just going like that. Okay. Going down, we're just tuning into this area here. Tuning into this area here. If you feel any really good points, just really enjoy them. Breathing into the upper burner, relaxing and calming the heart. Releasing any tension or anxiety that we have around the heart organ. Okay, and then get the middle finger, squeeze, 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 and flick off. There we go, nice. Okay, one more time. Okay, there we go. And if you remember a little while ago, we talked about the palace of anxiety point right in the center of the palm there, just slightly off towards the first finger, just right in here. That's a really good first aid point for anxiety, and especially for the upper burner. You can Google it if you want, Pericardium 8, and you'll find that's a really useful point. No doubt we'll get to it as point of the week at some point in the future. Okay, back to the other side, so we can tap that here. We're going down the middle of the inside of the arm. Okay, the pericardium channel is very useful for us for chest pain and for anxiety because it's related to the muscles around the heart. It's quite accessible for doing exercising and things like that. The heart channel itself is reserved more for the emotional level and it's a little bit more sensitive. So if there's any real stiffness here, I would recommend you use the pericardium channel to move that. And quite a few of my clients probably think, you're talking to me. The reason for that is a lot of my clients are having these issues here, and I've been using the pericardium channel when I've been working. So, and I'm sure if you have, wherever you're having your shiatsu treatments, if you're having any recently, there's a pretty good chance that this channel is being worked. So let's do it for ourselves. It really does work really well for self shiatsu and for doing. We can go down here. And I'm going to squeeze out that middle finger. Connecting all the way down, squeezing it out. And then one more time. Okay, and we'll find out the proof of it in a minute. We'll just see the proof of it in a minute. Now, if you're an upper burner person, if you're one of those voted for the upper burner and you are having stiffness and that around the chest area, then you might want to do this a little bit more during the week. But let's find out what's happened. Okay, we're going to shake out again, and we're going to repeat this exercise of bringing our hands forwards. Okay, and bring them out as far as we can. There we go. Okay, now you probably noticed, look how much further my arms are going back. They were about here before, weren't they? And it's like that now without any straining at all. And if we breathe in, we breathe out, you should feel a nice, comfortable, open connection all the way through here and into this channel. If it's still a little bit stiff, then maybe this week what you can do is do some extra special, maybe 5 minutes a day on that channel, and I guarantee it'll start to shift some of this stress here. And this is one of the places that can freeze up. If you're in the blue zone and you're getting upper burner frozen, it's a really good idea to get that moving. Okay, so just for completeness, let's do some work on the heart channel. We put our hands into the prayer position like this. We're just going to do a stretch. We're going to lift our arms up. Point them towards the ceiling behind, the wall behind us. Breathe in, breathe out, and gently open up the armpit. Bring the elbows out. Okay, just and again, breathing in. And one more time, breathing in, breathing out, and relaxing. Okay, excellent. Okay, we have around about 10 minutes left, and so it's time that we address the yang channels of the body, now that we've done some work on the 3 burners. And because at the end of those yang channels, near the end, is our point of the week, so we want to be able to, we don't want to miss that this week, do we, especially? Okay, so let's do a special on the bladder channel, because that's the water element yang channel. Remember this point here, this one for the eyes. We're just going to gently press in here. Okay, it's a really good point for eye strain, brightens the eyes. And then we follow the channel, it runs along the top of the head. Okay. And it goes down here. Okay, and we just do the sides of the head as well while we're here. And a little bit of work on the rest of the face, so let's squeeze around the eyebrows. Here, around the upper sinuses. Revisit the jaw. Squeezing around here. This is a good place here as well, around here. Very good point for breathing, just around here. A good press around. Okay, and you can actually like kind of wash the face like this. This is like a going exercise where you almost like washing your face and spreading it around like this. That's it. Tugging the ear is always a good thing. Chinese medicine, the ears are connected to the kidney meridian. You might be interested to know the sense of hearing. I think mainly because of the adrenal system and the fact that we listen out for threats. Okay, and then we can do the back of the neck. That's this point here. Remember this bladder 10? That point, it's like celestial pillar. It's like the one that helps us hold our posture up. So we're going to squeeze that down. Okay, the bladder channel runs down here and right down the neck, right down through the neck and into the back. And you might be wondering, why is the bladder channel going down the back? The bladder's down the bottom of the body. Very interesting, if you read Dan Keown's book about the meridians. He's a great friend of new energy work and the Shiatsu world in general. And you'll find out that embryologically, there are actually little tiny bladders all the way down the back where the bladder points are embryologically before the actual bladder formed. It's fascinating. So there is a direct relationship between the function of the bladder and the whole channel. Okay, so now we're going to just do some work down the yang channels. We better just make sure we clear any tension in the shoulders. Go down the yang channels of the arm. They're all the ones that go down towards the hands. Bring them all together. And covering all the yang channels of the arm on the outside and the hands. And the other side. Okay, and then we're going to just do the bladder channel as much as we can. So go down as far as you can. If you've got a friend or a member of your bubble, or a member of the family who can do this for you, you can do each other's backs. This is a lovely thing to do with the sides of your hands or the loose fists or cupping. I'm not going to have to do myself, so I'm going to go as high as I can like this. Now I'm tapping down. Past bladder 23. And then down onto bladder 36. And then down the backs of the legs. Okay, so just do a bit more on the back. Okay, one more time. Okay, excellent. Okay, so brushing off the yang channel, a bit of a shake. And now it's time for point of the week. And I've got a very exciting point for you. Okay, and we're going to go back down onto the feet again. And it's actually bladder 60. I'm going to show you what that looks like right now. Point of the week, bladder 60. Okay, now it's actually behind the ankles, and you might be thinking, okay, and its name is Kunlun Mountains. Okay, now that might not mean very much to us in the West, but the Kunlun Mountains are very important in Asia because they are the longest chain of mountains in Asia. They're 3,000 miles long, and there's all kinds of myths and legends about the Kunlun Mountains. And one of the big legends is they're the source of the mighty rivers of Asia. So they have this mystical power to support life and to provide the water of life from these incredible, mysterious mountains. So if you think about that, and then you think about bladder 60, it's actually like a river point. As I was saying before, it's where the channel starts to go from a spring into the river. The match is the other side of the kidney channel. The kidney channel runs up the inside and the bladder runs up the outside. It's used for lumbar pain, so it's really useful for lumbar pain. I'm squeezing mine right now. It's also used for difficult labor, and I've used it myself when I've been assisting childbirth. It's very effective during assisting childbirth. And it's also, and it's one of those ones you can teach people to use. It really is very effective. But sometimes it's contraindicating pregnancy. So if you're not pregnant, you don't want to have your baby quite yet, maybe you shouldn't press that point. And it's also used to treat headache and neck stiffness as well. So if you'd like to just try it out, if you'd just like to take your foot, if you can reach your foot, and just press one, maybe both sides of them. Let's see if I can get back here. So what I'm doing is I'm holding both sides, bladder 60. And if you just tune into that point and relax, okay? Hold the point, relax the whole of the back of your legs all the way up your back. There's a good chance you're going to feel a sensation all the way up the back of your legs, possibly into bladder 36, into the lumbar area. And if you're lucky, you may get a sensation all the way up to bladder 10 and up into the head. And that is the sensation of the action of bladder 60, Kunlun Mountains. Okay, what a fantastic point to finish our journey in the water element. And just to show you how you can use that image to kind of like focus ourselves in kind of standing, just think of these images. Let's just finish up by doing a final scan. You imagine that in our feet we have got the bubbling spring point connecting us with the earth. So we're just going to relax, open up that kidney 1 point. And then if we bring our attention into kidney 3, which is that one on the inside, that's that supreme stream point, which again connects up more in the front of the body. We can balance that by becoming aware of the outside of the heel, all the way down to the little toe. Just bring a little bit of weight onto the little toe side of the foot. Feel that Achilles tendon, and you can imagine the rivers of the Kunlun Mountains connecting you to the earth, both in the yin side and also the yang side of your body. Okay, what an amazing image, isn't it? Okay, so let's just take a few deep breaths and just appreciate how we're feeling now after the exercises. We're just going to scan through our body again and just compare how we felt an hour ago before we did the exercises. So you can check your lower heater, middle heater, and your upper heater. Okay, and then scanning right through our whole body, feeling our connection with heaven and earth, that feeling of being poised between heaven and earth. Okay, and you can remember what it was like just an hour ago when we stood here all together, checking in with our connection to the universe. Okay, so I'm just going to run the poll, the final poll, how we feel now. Just let us know if you feel about more balanced, about the same, or less balanced. Sometimes you will have a reaction. If you're concerned about any reactions, then let us know. You can always email us or contact your local Shiatsu practitioner. They'll be help you. Okay, there we go. We've got over 92% if you feel more balanced, which is terrific. Those of you who feel about the same, I really encourage you to pick the exercises that you think really you need the most. Just practice them even for 5 or 10 minutes a day until next Wednesday when we start the exciting next cycle. Hi, Dinah. The next cycle, which will be the wood element, taking us into spring. Look forward to that. Thank you for looking after the chat, Dinah, and see you next week.